So if you've been paying attention to this channel, you know that the Elite Wars is my favorite event. Our alliance has, for the most part, from the very beginning, been a very event-focused alliance. So when we were able to get, and this is the second time we've had the second or third time maybe that we've had #1 globe rankings, but it's always been so close between us and ATR that we would win, and then they would end up winning their rounds, either the following day or later in that day, and they would take over first place again. We're 36-3. 2 of those losses happened whenever we did our merge, and it just took a bit to get everybody over and into shape and through all of the drama of what happens during merges. So we rebuilt our alliance via a merge, and we got some really great players to join us, to join together with us, and to make a really good event-focused alliance. So very proud of our team and the things that we've been able to do so far. Still very early, still a lot of things can happen. We are trying to pick and fight the strongest alliances that we can within our globe to maintain our ranking. So we're going to look over here at rankings. Now, we're in first place obviously right now. Right behind us, not too far behind us, is Sky, and we faced them this weekend. Third place, and the team that's always been in first place until now, is ATR. Fourth place, NTM. Very, very strong, good, well-led alliance. Fifth place, OWB. I don't really know much about them, but they must be pretty good. Sixth place, DTW. This is the strongest player in the whole globe is in this alliance. He is a super spender, a super whale, the biggest whale. All right. And then, of course, we have Dom back here at 7. It's a drop off there. So if you look at total rankings, we're nowhere in that, right? Because you're looking at TLS, EOL, KO6, SIG, etc. Those are the top of the top of the top. The people who bring 100 to the event and really know what they're doing. So anyway, so here we go. Let's take a look at our last Elite Wars, where we faced off against what was the #1 team in our globe, ATR. And so I'm going to go over here and replay this. And so we're on the new map, which is an interesting map in some ways. One good thing about it is it forces you to divide up your team. It's good and bad. And so what we decided this time was to send 3 of our strongest castles along the bottom, send a pretty decent, strong, decent in the number of players to the top flank, right, to hold that top. Because we knew if they figure out that Smoke Evil is on the bottom, they're going to try to take the top. And then, of course, we send our win is grouping, is what we call it, through the middle. And they're very strong as usual. And that's the majority of our players. So I think we sent like 50-something through the middle, 15 or so, 15 to 20 along the top, and then 3 along the bottom. And so we're trying to stay together all the way through. No flank should get too far ahead. So here you go. We're about the 2 teams are about to meet each other, right in the very center of the map. And this first battle is the most important. The tough thing here is you've got to be pretty organized, because you've got to divide up your main group into 2 groups. So where they would normally all go together, now you have to have them split into pairs. Alright, but we're just going to cover a line all the way down. we're confident along the bottom that no one's really going to beat us. It would take a lot. If we saw a lot of people, if they would have sent 30 people along the bottom, we would have had to adjust a little bit there. But that was not the case. But you can see our middle teams, attacking now. And we're getting our third here on the bottom. Now what I like to do on these maps is these first castles you go to, I like to hold at least one person in there. There's nothing worse than to lose a battle and have your enemy speed in and hit your main before you're able to heal. And you'll see that becomes very important later in this match. So our main groups won, and they're pushing ahead. So you can see the enemy is kind of scrambling at this point. Like, what do they do? So they've got to try to find our weakness. So at this point, I want to lock up that bottom, so I speed in. I want to make sure that they're not able to help with the main. The good thing about splitting up is it forces the opponent to have multiple good, strong castles with them, or to divide up their troops into enough, equal-sized groups that they're able to push through. If you knew which map you were getting ahead of time, it would make it so much easier. But unfortunately, you have to have a good commander that can kind of organize and strategize on the fly, which is what happened here. And so the bottom here, we're going ahead and we're taking 16. And you can see their top flank is, and their middle, they're thinking, hey, we just lost the main battle. We're going to go ahead and get back to the castle, to the main castle. Which is not a bad strategy, honestly. They've got to poke one hole in the defense. At this point, they need to reorganize and push one castle. I would probably say the middle and leave enough homes so that if we hit their main, they're able to win that battle still. But we've got them back at home. And now, at this point, we say, hey, let's chill. Let anybody who has lost some troops in that last battle, those battles to get us to this point, go back home to the main base, refill, and get back out to the front line. But not everybody at once, obviously. You have to do a few at a time. So you'll see these like ally joining the battle down at the bottom. That's a little bit of that's what's happening there. I actually go back to the base and speed back in. And so they sent one of their bigs down to the bottom to hit us. And they sent a few. They sent, I guess it's just really a probing of the three castles to see where our weakness was. I'm telling you right now, the weakness was not in 16 with Smoke Evil there. And so we won that. I think at this point, I actually refill again and speed back in because there's plenty of time to do it. And so we can see them, some of their players just joining. And so that kind of makes you a little bit nervous that, hey, they may get to the point where they have enough players on that they're able to push us again. But we're still just getting, people back in, healed up to the front line, holding that front line, those front line castles. And we're just chilling. Let them react. There's no reason to be in a hurry. We have 38 minutes left. If anything, we could have just sat here and forced them to do something or lose. These events either come down to being overwhelmed or attrition. So you you fight long enough that it forces your enemy to heal so many times that they run out of heals and gems and they can't keep up. So now they're trying to make a push along the top, which is not a dumb strategy. It's actually pretty smart. They already tried the bottom. They weren't going to win that. So now they're trying the top. So they're sending a few, their strongest castles up there. And they're trying to lock up the middle. They tried to lock up the bottom, but we won that battle. So at this point, I was like, yeah, I've got to get to that main. And even though I'm going to lose that battle at main, it's going to keep them from healing. And hopefully, by the time those battles on the top and the middle are completed, they're locked up. There we go. Look, the top ended. So now they're able to rush in. Now there's the middle following in. And so at this point, their main castles that had gone to the top are not able to participate now. They're not able to heal and get back into the battle. So the battle is won. It's over at this point. They could only hope and pray they had enough people in their main castle to hold off everybody. But that, at that point, it wasn't going to happen. So again, it's always good to face the strongest in your globe, and it's better when you can win it, which we got here. We face Sky this next weekend, and it's going to be a tough battle, and by no means is it going to be easy. It's probably going to come down to the wire. We've had a few that have come down to just holding, more castles than the enemy, and Sky is one of those opponents where you kind of have to predict that that's what's going to happen. And so it's a good time for our alliance to be saving as many heals as we can, as many speed ups as we can, as many gems as we can. But today, of course, we have our Fortress Wars, which is, will eat up everything you've got. All right, and with that, again, take care.